Hey guys, today I want to talk about a $35,000 a month elderly home. That's right. I actually went to check it out. We couldn't get in there to do a vlog there because of the COVID again. You know, they won't let us in there. The lady showed me some pictures of the inside. It was actually pretty nice for $700 a month. That's $700 a month. Think about this for a second. If you go into a home back in the US, you're gonna be paying at the least, I don't think there's any less than 100. I would say there's probably none less than 150. Last time I looked, it was about 150 a day. And that was for a pretty decrepit nursing home or elderly home for you to stay in. Okay, this place here, it wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst. Now I seen a place back in Lawrence, Massachusetts, okay? That they got 150 a day. And I was looking for a place to put my father in. He really wanted to go into the soldiers' home, but I was looking for someplace close by so I could go and see him. We ended up putting him in the Chelsea soldiers' home because of the fact that that's where he wanted to be. He wanted to be around other guys. It wasn't bad. He was well taken care of there. And the best part about it was the VFWs and the American Legions occasionally would come down, play music for him on a Saturday, come in and visit him. The Ladies Auxiliary or whatever you want to call them, they would come in and visit, and they had people there that they felt comfortable with. And my father ended up liking it there, and he had this view of Boston that was incredible at the end of the hallway where he was. He was on one of the top floors. So he could see Boston at night. He could see Boston Harbor and watch all that stuff. So he had like a $1 million view from up there. It was incredible. But anyway, this place here, when I went in there, I was greeted when I opened the gate by two dogs there. They were barking a little bit, but I looked at the place, and from there on, it was kind of secure, which I was really kind of surprised about because I didn't expect that. And I was like, well, that's nice. That's good because of COVID or flus or what have you. If something's going around, they're in there and they can stop that right there because the only people going in and out are the people that work there. Well, I met this lady there. I was talking to her, and she showed me the rooms, like I said, and they were decent rooms. She didn't show me a lot of it, and she told me that, you know, sometime when the COVID slows down, I could probably get in there and see the place and talk about it and vlog, maybe possibly vlog inside. I'm not sure. She says she wasn't quite sure about that part, but maybe I can get in there and at least see more of it, and I can explain more. But she did show me the pictures, and it was really, really nice. And I was kind of surprised about it. But the price, where can you get a place for 35,000 pesos? $700 a month. I mean, guys, that doesn't include doctors. It doesn't include medical care or anything like that. It just includes your food 3 times a day, no snacks. If you want snacks, you have to have somebody bring them in or whatever. Okay, so that 35,000 pesos gives you 3 square meals a day, everything to take care of you, changing you if you need that, all that stuff. I'm sure that's all part of that package for that price. 700 bucks. You know, that's a steal. I mean, you can't. Rents back in the United States don't even come to that. So I mean, you know, if you're getting $2,000 to $3,000 a month, and that's why I say the sweet spot budget. I talk about the sweet spot budget a lot. The sweet spot of $2,000 to $3,000. If you were living in a home like that, and let's say you were disabled or something like that, and you need a lot of care, you can have your computer in there. You could probably have some Wi-Fi hooked up or get a pocket Wi-Fi or whatever, and you could still be in touch with the world, still be able to talk to people, still be able to do things, and still kind of live a little bit, even in your elderly years, if you're in your 80s or 90s and you're not doing that well, you know. But for that price, it can't go wrong. And there's better places too. So for you guys that are in the sweet spot budget or less, there is hope out there. There are places you can go to. There are some more expensive places in Tagaytay. They're all around here. You just got to find them. They're kind of like hidden away. This here particular one was in Dasma, okay? And when I saw it, I was like, wow, that's kind of nice. And I was doing like a check on the place because somebody had asked me to go there and take a look at the place. So I went there, looked at it, and I was like, you know, this isn't that bad. You know, for a person that's on a budget or doesn't have a lot of money, that could be an alternative. You know, a lot of guys back in the States, they want to get away from the States. They can't afford care back there. And you know what? You come over here and you can afford care, because a lot of doctors and medical care over here is like about 20 to 25% of what it is back in the US. And it depends where you go. And it depends where you go, and it depends on the level of care you're getting. Obviously, if you go to a high-end place like St. Luke's, you're going to pay a lot more. But sometimes I'm finding doctors over here are pretty decent, even on the lower level. Now, some people will tell you different than that. I've actually had a lot of luck. Now, I go to De La Salle University Hospital. I go to see my dermatologist there. I pay about 750 pesos, and I'm usually in there with her anywhere from an hour to 3 hours. She's checking on me. She's writing out all this stuff. We're talking. We're chit-chatting. And she's got people outside waiting, and she doesn't, you know, she's not afraid to talk or anything like that with me. And I try not to use up her space, but every time I say something, she goes and rambles on for about 15 minutes or whatever. So I'm afraid to talk to her sometimes because I'm holding up her, you know, her other patients outside. So, you know, I feel bad doing that. But anyway, when I was talking to this lady at this place here, she said they can have doctors come in and visit. So they must have some on-call doctors or whatever that will come in. They'll see you in the home, and they'll, you know, assess the situation, and, you know, I guess the place would probably go out and get your prescriptions, or your family would, or you could probably hire the people at the home to run out and get your prescriptions. If they didn't do that as a service, I'm sure they would if you gave them a few extra bucks or whatever. You know, but I'm just throwing this out there because there's a lot of people out there that are in a lot of predicaments out there. And if you ever get to the situation, and let's say you're on a $1,500 budget or $1,200 budget, and you're getting old and you just know that you can't take care of yourself anymore, at least you can check yourself in there. I mean, it doesn't cost much for a doctor here. A doctor's probably about $6 or $8 if you go to their clinic. I'm sure if it's a home visit or something like that, probably going to charge you maybe 15 or 20 US dollars, okay? I'm throwing that out there to make it easy because everybody usually knows how to change over dollars. But, you know, and it's over here, 35,000 pesos is about $700, and you're gonna get yourself a bargain basement elderly home. So, guys, that's why we love the Philippines over here. You know, the Philippines has a lot more to offer than the US does right now. Let's face it. You go into, if you start getting sick and getting old and you check into these places, most people can't afford them. They can't afford them. So does Medicare or Medicaid pick them up? Maybe to a certain extent they do, but they start also taking all your assets away. You know, they start locking down your assets and taking all your money away, and all that stuff starts disappearing. The other thing you can do, and here's an alternative for you vets out there. If you get old, you can check into soldiers' homes. One of them is the Chelsea Soldiers' Home back in Massachusetts. It's up on a hill. It's overlooking the ocean. You can check in there, and that can be your permanent place if you're sickly. You can use that as like a kind of a nursing home. It's basically a hospital, okay? And they'll take care of you there, and they have doctors in there that check on you, you know, every week, 2 or 3 times a week or whatever. And they have the nurses there all the time. They have certified nursing assistants in there to help change you and everything. So if you need something at home, you can fall back on that. But if you're in the Philippines and you don't want to go home, you want to stay here, you can still get some medical assistance through Pacific Cross or whatever. And if you need a ride to the hospital, I'm sure if you have some emergency money on the side, you could check into one of these places and have that emergency money there, and maybe put it in the home's, some of it in the home's hands, and say, hey, listen, use this here to send me to the doctors or whatever. I want an accounting of all my money or whatever. But take it from there for me. And I'm sure they'd be glad to take care of that. I mean, some people don't trust people that far over here. I think a lot of these places, you just kind of have to have faith that they're going to take care of your money. I mean, back in the States, people probably have more faith in the nursing homes and elderly homes than they do here. But I think at some point you have to have some faith in people. There's different ways you can go about that. You could hold the money yourself, or maybe have somebody on the outside, you know, kind of assist you and pay them, have an assistant, or maybe your girlfriend or your wife or whatever, if you're in one of these places. And hopefully that if you do ever check into one of these places, that you have family. I'm talking about people that don't have family. If you have family, it changes the dynamics of the whole situation. But we do have people over here that are kind of loners. And when they get sick, they're afraid to check into these places, and they keep on going, you know, hopping along ill and sick, and then they never get to go into a doctor or something like that because they're afraid to go in there because they're going to be, you know, told something really bad about their health when there is something bad about their health, and they're afraid to go in there, and then they end up passing away or dying or whatever, or having a heart attack. And that's the sad part about everything. But guys, remember, there are alternatives over here. I did a video before on elderly housing, nursing homes, assisted living and all that, way back, and we talked about this a little bit. So I wanted to actually physically go out and check this place, which is kind of cool. So I'm hoping I can get in to a place, but at least I got to see the outside of it and see a little bit of it and talk to the people there. So I was happy that I could do that, and I could give you guys some information out there about what's going on in these types of places. Anyway, guys, God bless, take care, and remember, there is hope over here. There's a lot of hope over here for elderly people, elderly guys coming over here who are afraid there's no place to go if something happens. They do have elderly homes over here. You can check in and you'll be well taken care of. God bless, guys. Take care.